bro.
Right, it is. I mean, it's polarizingly different, but I was just like, you know what? Like, let me go do it. Let me just do it. I'm going to figure it out, and let me just, I'm going to go, I'm tenacious enough. I'll figure it out, and I'll go that route. So there's no doubt it wasn't easy, right? You got to start from, and even when you start from scratch, even when you're able to help a homeowner, and we'll kind of get into it and how that all happens, you don't get paid unless a homeowner gets paid, and then that could take 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, depending on what the problem is with their home. So you may not get cut a check for a minute, right? But those checks are
heavy,
special.
Yeah,
they're different.
You know what's funny? Last night I had this guy in Joey. I always fuck up his name. Not that you're surprised because I asked you how to say your name 17 times. His name's Joseph McBrathy.
Okay.
He was in the movie Hitch.
Yeah.
His dad got whacked by the Gambinos when he was young.
Okay.
He's a private investigator. Now he's doing interventions. He was on American Psychic Challenge. He won that. He was second place.
Okay.
He won Guess the Lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah, he was like most stage.
I bet you if I saw him, I would know him off the top of my head.
He won $200K on there. He was in the movie Mobsters. He was in like Broadway play Sopranos before Sopranos was Sopranos.
Got it.
A lot of game shows. And now he primarily does the PI thing.
Okay.
And then intervention, but in a different way. Basically, he's going to duct tape you and throw you in the trunk, and he's not fucking around, and you're going to rehab. Or you can walk out and sit in the front and play the radio, whatever station you want. That was how he put it. And he's got a documentary coming out called Call Joe Bratt.
Okay.
And the documentary's done. You know what I mean? But the production company who bought it wanted to wait a little bit to release it until everything calms down. So we played it. It's really fucking.
Oh, that's
good.
cool.
But the one thing with him, I'm like, how did you win all these fucking game shows? I mean, he won, like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I mean, it was like one after. I mean, we would have been here for 19 hours. It was 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But he won all this shit. And I said to him, you know, his father got killed. So he was going through kind of as he was growing up, he was going down the wrong path. You know, and he started to see himself becoming his father in New York. So he came home one day and, you know, everybody got sick of his shit. You know, his family, and he just had a TV and a couch. And, you know, everybody, whether it's drugs or whatever it may be, whatever you want to call rock bottom, that, for whatever reason, woke him up and was like, I got to change my life because I don't want to be anything like my father.
Yeah.
Who got, who got murdered.
Pop.
Okay? So I said to him numerous times, I said, how the fuck are you winning these things? And he said, I go with my instinct. So I do it. I question myself. But... you know, I'm sitting with him 3 hours, and everything he was saying to me, he's like, I don't ever question myself. So, like with you, like you going from a hotel and restaurant gig to fucking claims adjusting. I mean, that's
a lot of structure.
That's like a fucking apple and an orange.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Tommy. It was. You talk about just complete opposite spectrum, right? It's just
not even close.
Right, you go from something structured, there's standard operating procedures, you know what the rhythms are, you have a check that comes in, you know, it was, and I tried. So when I left the resort, I worked at two other spots that were structured like that were in sales opportunities that gave me the 9-to-5 balance I was looking for, weekends off. And that was the original, that was the goal when I left the resort, was how do I find something that allows me holidays off, just like the normal life for most people. Holidays off, weekends off, 9-to-5. Like I was just like, get me that with the same type of pay structure I was making to some degree, and I'm good. I'm not looking to make
a gazillion dollars.
I just want to be around my family.
Now, when you do this, being that you blew off your family basically for 20 years, how accepting are they?
Oh, they love it. Oh my God, yeah.
No grudges, nothing.
No. I mean, it's so. I mean, my father and my mother are both just probably. I mean, everybody's gonna say, well, to some degree, the best people in the world, right? And they're just genuine gems, like just amazing people. I wouldn't be half of the person if I wasn't raised in that type of environment, right? Brothers, sisters, the whole 9 yards. So at the time when I was going through it in my 20s, it was like my father was like, you got to go through the grind, right? That's the thing. And at some point you're going to come out on the other end of it, right? And you're going to benefit. You're going to be the GM of a hotel, and you're going to be able to create your own schedule and things. And I thought that too, man. Like I was going through, I'm like, I'm just going to climb this ladder. It's going to get easier. But as you go and the higher you go, it doesn't get any easier. There's more responsibilities.
You're dealing with big time corp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not like you're dealing, where you're working at maybe like a Home Depot where you could easily come up to, or like a bank, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're really good, you could be like Eastern District manager.
Sure.
And you have all the banks in the Eastern District and make a ton.
Yep.
With what you're doing is you're where you're at, and you might get like an increase, but you're never going to be at the top because the top is the board.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it was one of those, it was you were so petrified of what else do I do?
Yeah, I understand.
Right? Like that was the thing that kind of kept you at bay was where do I go? How do I start over? And I think honestly, like a lot of people, not only in hospitality but in life, during COVID allowed them the ability to think outside the box, right? Now that you are forced to figure it out. Where before, why am I going to leave this? Why am I going to, I get paid, I make a pretty good living, I'm comfortable, I'm happy with what I got. I got a nice car, I got a house. Like, why am I going to, try to shake things up where I feel comfortable? And then with COVID happening and everybody kind of being like brought back to ground zero, it forced people to think of alternative ways to make money. You had to push yourself outside the box, and it made you think differently. And that was, to me, not that I created, I created some new software. I thought outside the box to some degree, but it allowed me to think I'm going to be okay, right?
But what made you pick insurance adjuster?
So it's funny. I didn't know what direction to go. Like I said, I went to 2 different sales gigs, and I thought that was the route. And then a good buddy of mine, I'm checking out his Instagram. I actually used to be his boss years ago. And I'm looking on his Instagram. Like this cat's like, I tease him still to this day. I'm like, he's in like Tulum, right? He's in courtside Lakers game. He's Miami. He's all over the map. This guy.
Yeah, that's the one you were talking about that was on the insurance, right?
Well, no, yeah. So that's how he's a public adjuster. So yeah. I was just like, so I hit him up, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I mean, so other friends of ours that were all in that circle, we'd all talk. We'd be like, what is this guy doing? Like, he must be massively in debt. Like,
now, did you meet him through the hotel business?
Yeah, so I was his boss back in the day. So we became close and friends, and we kept in touch and things of that nature. So I saw him going through life and just like being able to go, and he's here, he's there, and that. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, man, I became a public adjuster because one of his good guy friends, became a public adjuster like years before that. And now it's like a whole crew of them that, are all, it's a bunch of people that kind of came up through it. And he's like, you get to be exactly what you want, what you're looking for, right? You get to create your own schedule. You're going to make more money. I mean, he literally said, and it's funny, he's like, you'll never make this kind of money unless you are a hip hop artist or a professional athlete with the amount of hours you put into it, because you can make really great money. And it's not so much for me, that part of it, which obviously, yes, but it's what I love about it is that I still get the hospitality side of me where I get to help homeowners put their insurance claim in. So the problem is that a lot of people don't know what public adjusters are or what it is, right? And
I had an engineering firm, and I don't know what the fuck
right,
it is.
Okay, perfect.
And
so
then
it's
you
a great
also
example.
had said that there's you run into a lot of conflicts with homeowners and then being an insurance adjuster.
Yeah, so
first I want to ask you, what the hell is I know like the basis of it, but explain what an insurance adjuster is, what you do.
Sure.
And then why that's a conflict with the homeowner.
So I'll tell you a little bit, so I'll give you a quick synopsis of a little bit of both. So there's 2 different parts of being an insurance adjuster, whether you're a public or you're an insurance adjuster. So let's say you have a home and you have an issue, maybe you have a leak in your ceiling, your pipe bursts in your bathroom, your kitchen sink's leaking, something bad happens within your home that you need to put an insurance claim in to get compensated to fix said problem. Just like your car insurance, you have homeowner's insurance, right? It's the same process. You get in a car accident, you call your insurance company. So with your homeowner, you call your insurance company, send Joe Schmo, right? And he's going to come out, and he's an insurance adjuster. He's an advocate for the insurance company. So insurance companies aren't in the business of handing out checks. So they're never going to compensate you like what you actually need to get compensated to fix it appropriately. They're going to look at it like, to get you through what you need, here's $1,500, when really you need like $6,000 to fix the whole problem, because they're going to take the deductible out, things like that. So an insurance adjuster is hired by the insurance company to come out, document the things, and then they send that back to the insurance company. The insurance company will then review what was documented, and then they'll make an educated decision on what they think is best as compensation.
Well, they'll make their educated
Right,
decision.
correct, which is never what the homeowner needs.
Right.
So a public adjuster works on the opposite side, right? So we fight the insurance company on behalf of the homeowner. So the problem is with public adjusters, not so much a problem, just people don't know who we are, because we're not in every state. There's probably about 10 to 12 states that do not allow public adjusters. I'm a licensed public adjuster, so you have to be licensed in the state. You have to take exams. You got to go through courses. It's not just something you're like, you woke up tomorrow and you're like, I'm going to be this thing. Like it's a credible resource. You had to take an exam, go through like I think it was like 40 or 50 hour course that you have to go through to get licensed. And so basically what happens is that now you have a problem with your home. You don't go through your insurance company. You call a public adjuster. Everybody knows what an electrician is. Everybody knows what a plumber is. People don't know what public adjusters are. So when you have an issue with your home, you call a representative to be able to battle your insurance company properly, because we know how to read your policy. We know the ins and outs, the language of it. We know how to kind of negotiate that process. We hire engineers. We hire certain technical support to be able to come out to review your home, to be able to get you what you need to be compensated appropriately.
But doesn't that all cost the homeowner?
No. So that's the luxury of it. So let's just say when you go through this as a homeowner, when you hire a public adjuster, there is no fee that comes out of your pocket through this entire process. I know you're like, that's crazy, I don't believe it. But no, it's 100%.
What about on the back end?
No, nothing. At the end of the day, it doesn't cost a homeowner one penny, because what happens is, so even if I hire an engineer to come out, the engineer charges your insurance company to get paid out.
I see.
Right? So if I hire then an estimator, someone who comes out and scopes out your whole home, I actually pay out of my pocket for that, knowing that at some point once the claim settles, I'm going to get compensated to pay for that, right?
From the insurance.
From the insurance side.
Yeah.
So now let's just say you have let's say you have a kitchen, your kitchen sink underneath starts
I'll
leaking.
tell you an example, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my air conditioner breaks in my house, right? And under my homeowner's insurance, that's covered. Some prick comes in and he says, look, insurance says $2K. Mm-hmm. Now the air conditioner is $6K. I call you. Mm-hmm. And now you fight with the insurance
Correct.
to get me $5-6K.
Correct.
That is what on the paperwork technically I'm supposed to get, because it's still under that.
Yep.
It's still in that
umbrella type of
timeline or whatever. So then what you and your company do is then you fight with the insurance
Correct.
rather than the homeowner to get that $5 or $6,000.
Correct.
Now, why is that a conflict for you between the two?
It's not so much a conflict. It's one of those insurance adjusters are advocates for the insurance company, where we're advocates for the homeowner. So they don't like us because we're trying to get more money from their company, right? And they're not in the business of handing out checks. So we're trying to fight. But at the end of the day, the principle of a public adjuster is always to get the homeowner back to the previous state before loss. So whatever that is. So let's just say you have a roof and a really bad storm hits, and now you have broken tile all over your tile roof, and now you start to have some water damage through it. You call your insurance company up. They're going to come out, and they're only going to give you enough money to replace a few of the broken tiles and a little bit of money to repaint.
Yeah.
Where we go through and we get the whole roof repaired, because the other thing is some of the language behind it. A roof, typically tiles last about 5-6 years before that they are no longer, that they're not expired. What's the one I'm looking for? They don't make them anymore, right? So a lot of these homes in South Florida, tile roofs, they're like 20 years old. You can't match that tile anymore. They don't exist.
Yeah.
So when we have an argument with the insurance company where, okay, so now my tile roof is all white, but now, I have 15 broken tiles. You're going to come in and just replace 15 of them with gray. So now my roof is a completely different color, right? So, but public adjusters know how to fight that to be able to get your whole roof compensated and fixed.
I take a baseball bat and fucking hit that motherfucker.
Yeah, well,
with every one of them tiles you put up there that was gray. Just
yeah,
kidding.
you got to be careful.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Joking.
They can see through satellite if you have any.
I'm just joking. Yeah. But so basically, would it be better just to call you from the gate?
Yeah, 100%. So if anything, calling a public adjuster at the end of the day is going to be your best call. If you are planning on filing an insurance claim, call a public adjuster.
Not
period.
The insurance.
Don't call your insurance company, right?
Good to know.
Call a public adjuster. Let them battle this for you. Nothing, and I'm speaking on behalf of all public adjusters as an industry. It doesn't cost them, or it won't cost you any money hiring a public adjuster. It's a contingency plan. We only get paid out once you get paid, right? So if your roof is $45,000 to fix it, we know that. We got inspection work out there that says it's going to cost $45K. We're going to fight for about $55K to get paid out so that we get our cut and your deductible.
Because people don't know this, man.
That's 100%.
I guarantee if I put 20 people in there and
no one knows it.
And I say to them, hey, if you had a bad roof, who would you call?
Right. They would call
insurance.
Insurance, or they would call a roofer to come out.
You got to push that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's where. And we were talking earlier is that I'm on 640 radio AM as well, talking about public adjusting because people just don't know about it. And even if I talked about this on the radio the other day, is denied claims, right? So you own a home, you call your insurance company. I just had this with one of my clients right now. So she calls me up and she's like, "Hey Ryan, go through the process with her," and she goes, "I got denied." And I said, "Well, why did you get denied?" She goes, "Well, I called and said it was a flood." Meanwhile, she had water intrusion through her window, rain, because now her windows are not sealed properly, and that's part of your insurance claim. So now she's got water intrusion. Now her floor is messed up. But she called it a flood, right? Because she doesn't know. She doesn't
know the right word.
She doesn't know the verbiage, right? So she calls the insurance company and says, "Hey, I have a flood." She doesn't even have flood insurance. So they just straight up were like denied, right off the bat. They didn't even come out to her, look at her home. They just denied her off the jump. So I was able to go in there and be like, well, it's because you don't have flood insurance. B, this isn't a flood. This is what we call wind damage, and it's a windstorm, and it's wind-driven rain that comes through. And we know how to go through the process to be able to
Now shut the fuck up, lady.
Let me help you. No, and she's super sweet and been able to help her. And that's the other.
I don't mean, ma'am, I don't mean shut the
by
fuck
all
up.
means,
I'm saying like let Ryan talk.
Yeah. And it's what's great about it too, Tommy, is that it's still helping people. So it's still the hospitality side of me. I get that itch that I have. I still get to scratch it because I still get to help people.
See, us Dagos,
Yeah.
our hearts get fucking
100%,
mangled.
right.
And also, it's a bad thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it creates a lot of problems.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, it's like when you get those natural disasters, those hurricanes, like Louisiana just got beat up. Public adjusters are out there. They're helping homeowners.
Always getting.
Yeah, they're getting. It's always getting.
Hey, did you know what a public adjuster was? Like he's talking about prior to him explaining this.
I did not.
Yeah,
and sitting here listening to it, I feel like the big thing he should be doing is explaining this like an attorney. If you get sued by somebody, you don't walk into court on your own because you're going to get shot to death with verbiage. You need to kind of...
Yeah, that's a good point.
There you go. Just look at the camera and say...
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it's funny because we have attorneys that represent us as well.
This is very educational for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we have, even when it gets to a point where...
So whatever he just asked in like bigger words than I know, can you explain what he just asked?
He's basically saying, so like you hire...
I didn't pay attention, obviously.
You hire an attorney if you're in legal... You have legal issues, you hire an attorney, they understand the verbiage, they know how to go and fight that battle in the court system. On a very dumbed down scale, it's what I do on a homeowner side where you don't understand. When you look at your policy and insurance policy, it could be anywhere like 5 to like 45 pages long, right? Mm-hmm. And we know how to read those policies and know where we're allowed and able to battle certain things within your insurance policy to be able to get you compensated appropriately. Because the most important thing is not allowing you to pay as a homeowner to pay out of pocket for your damages. That's the point of having insurance. Even though insurance is, there's pluses and minuses to them, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, what's really difficult is when an insurance company doesn't want to take care of a homeowner appropriately for the damages that they're sitting in. Like they got a foot of water in their home and they're denying claim, like not our, and it's amazing. And you feel for these people, especially during a natural disaster. And that's when we talked about originally when living in South Florida, why it's better for me is that, there's more of those type of like storms that hit versus Orlando. And not that I ever want a storm to happen.
Get the fuck out of here. You want a storm to happen without anybody dying.
Well, yeah, and without anything severe. Right. I mean, you do like storms because
it's knock out the house, just leave and you get a new house.
I mean, it's one of those things where it is that's where our industry becomes more successful, when there is a storm that really kind of does, and no one in our world wants any major, like you mentioned. No, I agree. But yeah,
it is
storm,
good for business.
It's good for business, and it's sad because you benefit off of the demise of others, but at the end of the day, you're there to help them during the demise of what they're going through. You're and then the advocate
justification, my man.
So that's how you balance it. No, that's
but it's true though. It's true,
I agree with you. It's like you're in a shitty situation, and I'm there to help you to be able to bring you back to life. And at the end of the day, I'm successful in those shitty situations.
Hey, my house went up $200K in the last 2 years. You can burn that bitch down any day you want.
Yeah,
I'll call you.
It's funny. I think
I'll light the match.
I bought mine.
Actually, no, because
I bought mine, and I think it's like up 75, 80 somewhere.
I couldn't believe it.
It's stupid.
Somebody, I think my girl, somebody told me when I'm like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I looked and I'm like, what the hell? And you know what? To me, I said, "Oh boy, here we go."
The problem is you go and you decide to sell your home.
Yeah.
Then where are you gonna fucking go?
Yeah.
Because everything else is jacked up.
Yeah, because maybe I get 4 or 5 for mine.
Yeah.
And then where I want to go, that was 4 or 5
9.
is now 8, 9.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm the only one.
Yeah.
You know
Might as well
what
as just coast. I mean, that's like I was mentioning when I first moved down here. I had one buddy of mine, and he became my realtor. And I went through this process, and I said to him not that long ago, I was like, "Yo, Mike, maybe I'll do a little flip." And he's like, "Where are you gonna go?" He's like, you go rent an apartment, the spot you had that was 16, 17 grand or 16, 1700 a month or 18, whatever. Now that's 29.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Now's not the time.
Yeah, no. So I just coast and relax. And I mean, it's a good spot. So I mean, one of like kind of going back to being a public adjuster. And I think the big thing is just, what you guys touched on is